And now, after years of planning, sweating, and going broke, here is the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
I'll alert the media.
Why they would give this man a podcast is anyone's guess.
Then there is what could only be a bizarre coincidence or something else.
Welcome to the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Trapped, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Country music and fine moonshine. Finally, a podcast that lets it all hang out.
Let's level with America.
Got your boots? Ready for some whiskey?
These boots are made for walking.
One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
And now, the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Hey everyone, Jim here, Boots and Whiskey Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the show. Today we have Lili McGrady on the show, who is co-founder of Humanable. I'm awful. I am awful at this shit. But Lili is here. She is a co-founder of this company, and this is like a first for us. We've never had somebody on that was from like a company, like, you know, and Lili's a professional. She's got all these accolades. She's absolutely incredible. And here I am, this bumbling idiot, and I'm just like, I want to know about you. But we had fun. We had a great time with Lili. We found out all about her company and what she's doing with AI and the music industry, and super, super fascinating. Not a lot of technical stuff, but some cool technical stuff of what's happening and like how the industry is evolving. And it's cool. And then we got to know Lili a little bit, so we're very excited for this episode. So thank you for being here. If it is your first time here, welcome to the show. We don't do a lot of glitz and glamour. It's all about the conversation for us. It's all about the connection, the one-on-one. That's what it's about. So thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening in your car on your way to work or at work, whatever. I'm not here to judge you, do you? But thank you. Go check us out on our socials, at Boots and Whiskey Podcast, on everything, at Boots and Whiskey BootsandWhiskeyEntertainment.com is the website. Needs work. Anyway, over the weekend we saw Steven Wilson Jr. We're going to get to that on the flip side. But until then, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here. Sit back, relax, enjoy the episode and the conversation. Lili, thank you so much for being here with us. And we'll see you on the other side of this, guys. Cheers. This app is like very temperamental at times. So that's a lot of fun. But Lili, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So like I was saying to you, like I kind of want to hear your story and what the hell you're doing, because from what I've gathered, what you're doing is actually pretty cool.
Thank you. I think so too. Humanable started. The idea kind of came to us about a year ago when I moved to Nashville, kind of accidentally grassrooted myself in the dive bar scene at places like Santa's Pub and Bobby's Idle Hour, and
accidentally?
Yes, accidentally.
Sure.
Yes, it was great. I went to Santa's Pub one night with my sister, and Santa and Angelina's daughter Joy said, "Oh, we adopted you now," and I was like, "Well, I guess I'm adopted."
Sweet.
So I met all these great, very talented kids, up and coming artists, songwriters, instrumentalists, vocalists, and kind of like being around them because I was so green with envy because I'm not a musician myself, and kind of like sort of soaking up their talents and getting to hear them perform. And a lot of them, I'm like, I'm never going to get to hear them sing for free ever again, and that turned out to be true with people like Emily Nenny, who is now, opening for Orville Peck. Crazy. These kids are so talented. But
can I pause you for a second?
Yes.
I have not been able to get into Orville Peck to save my life.
That's okay. That's okay. You should get into Emily Nenny though. She's fantastic. Yeah.
Do you know her personally?
Yeah, she's a good friend of mine.
Well, let's get her on.
Yeah, please. She's incredible.
Hell yeah. Sorry.
Caller?
That's how this show is so ADHD, it's not even funny. So don't even worry about it.
Well, she's a musician. I think she was opening it for Orville last night, so maybe 10 o'clock LA time. She might have our heads. But she's great, and you should totally get to know her.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was hearing the same thing consistently from my friends, and that they were worried about generative AI music eating their lunch, replacing them. And a lot of them were really hurt that a lot of people were kind of capitulating and thinking that robots could kind of do what their God-given talent and incredible ability, and not just talent, skill. They worked so hard, the spark of talent, and then
Yeah.
they earned it. And I was like, but you guys are so talented. You were not worried about it. And then a year later, I was still hearing the same thing. They were still worried about it. And I wanted to fix it. I don't know if that's a character flaw or what's going on there. Maybe a slight savior complex. I'll have to work that out on my own time. But I wanted to fix it, kind of trying to brainstorm how to fix it. And I thought, okay, well, a kosher kitchen recording studio type of thing, but then you'd have to look over everybody's shoulders, and nobody's going to want to do that. Yeah. And also, volume. If someone's in there for 6 weeks making a record, you don't get to have that many sort of kosher kitchen records a year. Plus, most of them are pre-written before they get into the studio. And sometimes there's extra fun stuff that they come up with, but that's it. And we thought, okay, a record label, we'd have the same problem. And, we want to, if I was going to have a record label, I would want to use songs from as many talented songwriters as possible. And so we can't look over everybody's shoulders. So I realized that the solution is actually in trademarks. Boo, boo, boo. Such like whenever people hear trademark, I understand it's a boring word. Bear with me. Trademarks are actually really cool. I think trademarks are really cool. I worked for a boutique law firm specializing in trademark work, intellectual property work, and really got to love the industry. And I realized that the solution was kind of perfectly in trademarks, because we came up with this idea of what's called a trust mark.
Yeah.
And it's like certified organic on your produce, but for music. So how it works is artists, songwriters, instrumentalists, pretty much anybody who is producing a piece of art, and it doesn't have to be recorded. This can be a written song that you're using for song pitches, right? At any stage of the music process, you can go ahead and certify it with Humanable. Wow. So if you have a piece of music to certify, you will join Humanable and you will certify under oath, meaning penalty of perjury, that you created, this is your baby. This is your art. This was not written by any computer programs. This voice, if it's a recorded song, is not a robot voice.
Damn. So let me ask you this, right? Because this is where my pushing the envelope hat comes in with this show, right?
Yeah.
Now, for what we do, right? We talk to singers, songwriters all the time. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I am not saying that this isn't a conversation you've had, because I don't know, I'm not you, right? But not once has AI ever been brought up on this show. That's
really interesting.
Yeah. Huh. And I say that because it's like, hearing you say it, it's like, oh shit, like, this really is, it could be an issue.
Yes, I think people are starstruck by you, Jim. I think that's why.
That's it.
100%.
Yeah, they can't believe they're on the Boots and Whiskey podcast, right? But yeah, and I mean this with all due respect to artists, right? But do you see this as more of a problem with certain types of musicians or artists or lyricists or whatever, rather than others?
I mean, I think you either have integrity or you don't.
Okay.
Right. And I think that, obviously there are people listening and consuming fake music, robot music. I'm not one of those people. You either have integrity as an artist, and also if you're a listener, you care about that. You care that it's human art, or you don't.
Right.
So I think in Nashville, we're definitely sort of in a
Bubble.
artistic integrity bubble,
Yeah.
even, right? Because I don't think, and I've met hundreds of incredible artists and songwriters, and I know that none of them would touch generative AI with a 10-foot pole. But it's out there. It's out there, and I'm sure it's here in Nashville too. But here, I've really seen kids who, first of all, wouldn't touch generative AI with a 10-foot pole, but also want to let everybody know that. And
Now, do you see it? I guess my question was, do you see it based on genre of music, right? Where, like for us, like country music is so authentic, to a degree, and nothing against pop music, but you could argue that pop music may not be, right? That's also just my bias too. So,
I'll be honest with you. I have a little bit of that same bias.
Right.
I definitely don't struggle to enjoy country music.
Right.
I love pop music too, but just a little bit more selective.
Right.
I don't know that I've personally seen it be one genre over another, and the data that we have about how many just crazy amounts of robot music are uploaded to streaming platforms every single day. I don't think that there's a specific genre bias. I'm sure there's probably less country, because I feel like that would be maybe a little bit easier to tell, because each, we're really lucky to be surrounded by country music every day. Everything is just so, every single story in a country song is just so unique. I think that might be a little bit easier to be like, that sounds fake, but I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So is the industry as a whole doing anything to kind of like curve this?
A lot of people are trying different things. I'm seeing, a lot of really good strategies. A lot of people are, some people are going along with it. And a lot of incredible organizations are saying, no way, none at all, fighting the good fight. And then a lot of businesses, organizations are trying to accommodate AI, make it ethical AI. And I think that's great. And I'm cheering them on. If it's going to be a part of the industry, no matter what, then, make it ethical. But we are purists at Humanable.
Yeah.
We are all or nothing.
So when I think about it, right, I think about the one big one that has happened in the last year with Randy Travis.
Mm-hmm. See, right? I think that's great. Randy Travis is trying to feed his family. Right. We can't certify it at Humanable, right?
Okay.
But I think that's fantastic.
So like you wouldn't certify it even if it's got all the okays, all the like in a sense like Randy, right? Where Randy just can't sing anymore, right?
Yeah. Yep, and we're a big fan of we're big fans of Randy Travis, and we're a big fan of what he's doing. I think that's fantastic, and but yeah, we wouldn't be able to certify it because it's generative AI, unfortunately. Right. Yeah.
Now, is that the kind of things you're talking about when it comes to this? For people that have no idea what the hell we're talking about, me included, because I have no idea what the hell we're talking about. But I think it's fascinating beyond belief.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I know that when we were done with our first bit of market research to see if this was something that, we'd be able to do, that we'd be able to pull off, and if it would actually help people, we help the industry. That first round of market data, when we saw those final numbers, I was like, we can't turn back.
Right.
We can't turn back.
Now, do you also, like if I pull up ChatGPT right now, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, write me a song about X, Y, and Z, It can. I mean, it's not always the greatest, you know, but it can.
Yeah.
Now, are you fighting against that too?
Yes. So we are worried about what we're calling the big three, not the car companies, but so in order for it to qualify to be a Humanable certified song, it has to be written by a human being.
Okay.
Or human beings. No robot, not a single word written by a robot. Like
Now,
traditional
so
songs.
how do you know for sure?
Well, we have people sign affidavits.
Okay.
Whenever they certify a song, they have to sign an affidavit, and we are working with a musicologist as well because we're going to be auditing people. We're going to be randomized. There are going to be randomized audits, and also there are going to be what we call smelly fish audits.
Yeah.
When we get a report from somebody, oh, this is AI or something smells bad, but there are some detection softwares that are getting better, and
Okay.
when we are really confident in those, we will license it and put it
nice.
in our product. But what we're really worried about, what we have to make 100% sure of before we use those technologies is that they're not using that data that we input with these songs to train AI models.
Okay.
So, because then you have the same sort of shoplifting generative AI,
Yeah.
So that's our number one thing. It's, accuracy, which we appear to be there on accuracy. Some of these are incredibly advanced, and when we're sure, we can't wait to work with them. But someone puts in a song, I feel like if it would then train a generative AI model to mimic them in any way,
right,
then it would completely defeat the purpose for us. But the other two co-founders are incredible attorneys, and one of them, Mr. Jason Elster, is a proper litigator, and he is excellent at what he does, and very scary when he needs to be in a good lawyer way.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for the first person who lies to us.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very bad year for them. We're gonna litigate with them. Jason Elster will do that for us, and we'll also, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but it feels weird to say, we'll be referring them to their local attorney generals as well. Like they committed perjury.
Damn.
Yeah.
You guys aren't fucking around.
We're not fucking around. We mean business, and the reason why we're so strict about it is just because people work so hard for that art, and they proven to us that it's certifiable, and they have jumped through our hoops, and my God, there are hoops to jump through. It's not fair for then everybody and their mom to be either putting through AI music through and committing perjury, or putting our label on there without putting it through the system.
Right.
But so not only do they have to sign an affidavit under oath, but we also verify IDs when you first create that account. We use Plaid. We use Plaid software, which is very similar to Clear at the airport. It's intense. Yeah. We know that you are a human being for sure, and we know exactly which human you are.
Right.
We can't have robots getting through and certifying stuff, because then also, who do you take to court if a robot certifies something?
Right.
But we're not messing around, and that's for fairness purposes, for the hardworking artists who create their own art. Yeah.
I don't have any musical bones left in my body, and I'm afraid of you.
Don't be. I'm very lovely. I promise. I'm very nice. I just have a very scary sounding job. You should be a little bit afraid of my co-founders. No, don't. They're also very sweet. They're just excellent at their jobs.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
No, and I don't mean that in like a disrespectful way. Like I'm like,
scary.
Shit.
Yeah, we're not messing around. We're not messing around. But as long as a computer didn't write the song, you're good. If it's a cut song, as long as the computer didn't write it, if there's vocals, if the vocals are human, and if there's instrumentals, the instrumentalists are human, you are certifiable. You are good to go.
Now, what about, with the way technology is, right? And a lot of the way some independent singer-songwriters put things
Mm-hmm.
together, and they use like GarageBand or whatever, right? Because they don't
As long as
have.
they created those,
Okay.
as long as they created those, and that's still certifiable. Obviously, we prefer instrumentalists,
Right.
like everybody else, and we definitely don't want to see them get left behind. But if a computer program created those beats and everything, then we can't certify it. But if you put in the hard work and you wrote that song and you use GarageBand, then it's certifiable.
Interesting. That's why, like, I can't even believe that that's such a thing. And obviously it is, because if not, you wouldn't be a company.
It's nuts. It's nuts. And the reason why we don't leave out GarageBand, again, as long as you actually created that. You didn't it's not a preset beat, and it's not a computer program. The reason why we include that is because we don't want to leave the little guys out.
Right. Yeah, because even when people upload things to Spotify and they use GarageBand, like, you can tell.
You could, yeah. And hopefully hopefully that kind of puts a fire under them, and eventually they get to record it in a studio with real musicians, real instrumentalists, and it sounds, it sounds perfect and happy and live.
So since you launched this whole thing, like, what? I don't know if you. I don't think this goes against anything, but like, how many musicians, artists, whatever, do you have in the Rolodex at the moment?
I don't know about the exact number of accounts, but I spoke to the tech guys yesterday, and we are above 86,000 songs certified now between users, and then we're certifying some pre-2014 music for free, just because songwriting computers didn't exist then, and we don't want it to be cost prohibitive for people to certify songs that they wouldn't have had the technology to not write it.
Right.
So between the house account pre-certifications and our users, we're north of 86,000.
Damn. So, like, let's say today, right? I create an account, put, let's say, 10 songs in, right? Mm-hmm. Or however that works, right? What's the turnaround time to get them certified?
Instantaneous, because you can sign that affidavit right away, and as soon as you sign that affidavit, you get an email with all our brand guidelines, and then you can put our mark on your marketing materials, on any album covers. You can say in your Instagram handle, you're a Humanable certified artist. It is as soon as you jump through those ID verification hoops and you sign those affidavits, you're good to go. Now, you do have to sign an individual affidavit for each song.
Okay. Now, what happens, right? Let's say I do that, or an artist does that, and it's instantaneous like that, and then you guys are going through however you go through and find that it's not. Minus the legal ramifications, what's that process?
I think that process is pretty much exclusively legal ramifications.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. We would then turn that process over to my co-founder, Jason, who's going to be taking on the litigation parts of this. And he would, obviously, revoke their certification and everything, and revoke their accounts, I'm sure. But that would probably be illegal. That would probably be an instantly legal process. Yeah.
How have we run into that yet? Not yet.
People have been behaving so far.
That's wild. I can't, like, it blows my mind that it's that bad.
Someone will lie to us eventually.
Oh, of course. Of course.
But also, please don't.
Right.
Please don't do that. I don't want to see that happen to you. But yeah.
So are you doing it just with songs? Like, could, someone like me, could I throw up my episodes and be like, these are legitimate conversations and
Well, I don't know. That may be in our future plans.
fair? Because I mean, because this is, in all sense, I don't know why anybody would want to copy this podcast, but like, um, you hear it all the time. If you listen to people like Joe Rogan and stuff, right? And Rogan talks about it all the time, where he's like, there's people out there that pretend to be me all the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We are starting with music just because that's where we see the most like super immediate industry need.
Right.
But I'm sure we are hopeful that we'll eventually be able to expand to other art forms.
Nice. So, how is the process for people to sign up for your services?
It's relatively easy.
Yeah.
It's go to humanable.com, create your account on the homepage. Easy peasy. What's a little bit more time consuming, it shouldn't take longer than like 5 or 10 minutes, is to verify that ID with Plaid.
Yes.
You need I think you need a physical ID. You need an SMS verification. And it's a little more time consuming if you run into a bump, because sometimes one thing doesn't, if you don't have, anyway. But once that is the big hoop. That is the big hoop, and it should be, and it's also going to be easy to use Plaid. It's
Right.
just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, because isn't Plaid the same kind of thing that like the banks use for their?
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. Yeah, I've used Plaid all the time, and similar software, but it shouldn't take longer than 5 minutes. And also, if you run into any errors, email us and we'll get you sorted out.
Right. Now, so what is this? What is this kind of? I know everybody loves to talk about money, which is everybody's favorite thing in the world. But like, what kind of financial commitment is this?
This is a low financial commitment, and that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Because we created this for all artists, but we really did create it for the up and coming art.
Yeah.
It's for everybody, but it was them who inspired it. So we have a monthly subscription fee of $6.95 a month.
Okay.
So the price of a can of beer.
I want to go to wherever that place is.
Well, you can get 2 cans of beer for $6.95 at Santa's Pub.
Not here. You can't even. I don't even. In Boston, I don't even think you're getting a sip for $6.95.
So less than a can of beer a month if you live in Boston, or anywhere else in the world. But and then so for each song that you certify, it is a $1 one-time fee.
Okay.
Once that song is certified, it is certified forever, unless you lied to us. And you never have to pay for that song again.
Nice.
But that $6.95 a month is to maintain your license to our mark.
Yeah.
So even if that song is certified, you still need the monthly subscription, because you can't use our mark on marketing materials without without that license. That subscription is just for that license.
Now, again, I'm playing devil's advocate because that's just my nature. What's the difference between what you're doing and then, like we talked about a little earlier, like somebody just trademarking a song?
Yeah, well, the copyright office
is slow as fuck.
But also, one of the reasons why Humanable exists as well is because if something is completely human created, it is copyrightable. It is entirely copyrightable. And there's all kinds of problems with robot music and copyrightability.
Sure.
Because how do you prove what percentage was human, what percent was robot? All kinds of issues there. So one of the reasons we're so excited about is because the industry will know that if there's a Humanable number attached to a song pitch, they're not taking a risk that it's not
Right.
copyrightable.
There you go. Yeah. Now, for this, right? Have you guys like fully launched this? This is like we
Just
are
recently.
okay.
Yes.
All right.
Only about a month ago.
Oh, no shit.
It's been really recent. Yeah, we got we got the idea in February, and then we hired our tech guys, like our software developers, like two weeks later.
Damn.
We were off to the races. Yeah.
Damn. Now, how long did it take to I mean, maybe I don't know if you would know this, but how long does it take to build something like this?
This platform, let's see. Probably all in when it, including testing and bug fixes and everything. I think it was about 6 months.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, so it's not just a willy-nilly kind of thing.
No, our tech guys are incredible.
That's awesome.
Munello is who built it, and they're fantastic.
Nice. So now, what exactly is your title in all this?
My title is Chief Human.
Chief Human?
Chief Human.
Nice.
So thank you. I think it's kind of fun. I think it's kind of a fun title. I will be running the more industry and human being facing side of this. So I am in charge of industry relations, musician relations, label publisher relations, all of that, and sales and customer service and marketing. And also I am the spokesperson for the company. So
Nice.
I am the one who speaks to the media and does appearances for the company,
Nice.
which is great.
Which is why you're here.
Yes, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, like when it was brought to me, like I don't do a lot of research. Actually, I don't do any research because I don't.
Why should you?
Right, because it's like if I'm going to talk to you about what you're doing, like I don't want to.
You're going to find out everything anyway. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to be as surprised as whoever's listening. And it took me a few conversations with, Craig to even understand what the hell you're doing. I was like, he's like, I got this girl, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then like when I started to like actually read the emails, I was like, oh, this is cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that was your reaction. Craig's fantastic.
It takes a lot to impress, but yeah, it was because it's an idea that one you never thought of, or at least a regular person would ever think of, somebody outside the industry would ever think of, and it's like, you see apps all over the place where it's, you can swipe right to find, co-writers and, all that stuff, or, tip in your, the performers and all that stuff. There's so many of that sort of thing that this is just so out of the box and really a real necessity from what it sounds like.
Thank
you.
you.
Now, with that being said, right, are you guys worried about copycat companies doing what you're doing?
I mean, there's always competition, and you should always be worried about competition, of course. The similar business models that we've seen have been not based on no generative AI in a piece of art. They have been focused on ethical uses of AI, and stuff like that. Which again, fantastic, and I'm cheering them on. But the products are just so different.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, because it's kind of like anything, right? Like, if you have the smarts and the intelligence and all that, like you can build this sort of thing, right? But it's all based on the brand and how you make yourself different from somebody else.
Yeah, well, and I keep coming back to trademarks because I love trademarks, but this is definitely like a trademark centric idea
Yeah,
that we were able to put together because of co-trademark expertise, right?
right.
And there are eventually there will be other. I mean, there are good ethical AI solutions now, but we are so far the first to market
Yeah,
for something like for the purist route.
yeah. And I have I've come to realize I talk about myself a lot. And I think that might be the only child syndrome. But it's kind of like with this, when we started this podcast, right?
Mhm.
I had and I still have no idea what the hell we're doing. Um, but
Now
I
that's
knew,
not true.
well, don't give me too much credit, Lily. Um, but like I always knew like I wanted to be different than everybody else, right?
Yeah.
And my personality is way different than a lot of people anyway. So, that's why we always just did it so authentically. And it's just, I know I've pissed a lot of people off. I know I have pushed the envelope, but it's obviously working,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. Congratulations.
Thanks. But and I think that's what I like about what you're doing is that it is so authentically, I say maybe not you as an individual, but you as a company that it's fun to see and fun to watch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
So I know you're busy and I appreciate your time, but like what about you? Like how what I know we talked about it a little bit, but why this?
much. That's a really good question. When I realized that there was a solution that was related to the industry that I was already involved in, there was not going to be any stopping me.
Yeah.
And if for some reason it wasn't this, it would be something else too.
Sure.
But it was this because I was worried about my friends.
Yeah.
Right,
And that's
primarily that.
yeah.
Primarily worried about my friends and not wanting them to worry about not only the industry being retrained but listeners being retrained to
Sure.
accept that robot music. Can you imagine doing your banking online 20 years ago? There's no way.
No.
And
I can't imagine doing it now.
I know. Can you imagine? I haven't been to a branch in forever.
Right.
But never, no one would have done banking online. 20 years ago, they would have been, oh, put my information on the computer. You're crazy.
Yeah.
Human beings can be retrained,
Yeah.
and that is primarily a good thing. We're very teachable, usually, which is good for adapting to new life circumstances, taking
Yeah.
a scary job across the country, whatever it is. But it is devastating when that comes face to face with art.
Yeah. It really is. And and it you don't realize it until you hear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get ahead of it before it becomes the norm and become the new industry standard and sort of become the new norm before it's too ingrained with the music industry to turn back.
I gotta say this is a one of a kind episode for us because this is the first time we've ever had somebody not really talk about themselves.
I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. Like I didn't. I always I strive for that,
If you
but
have
then I
any questions, I'm happy to talk about myself a little bit, but
the more I thought about it, I was like, she's not gonna fucking tell me anything about her. She's representing her company. Like this has nothing to do with her. Like,
I can tell you a little bit. I moved to Nashville a few years ago. Love it here. Never living anywhere else. And actually went to drama school.
really?
Yeah, I know.
You don't seem very dramatic.
I went to school for playwriting and theater education.
Oh, nice.
So luckily not an actor because that's a very hard life.
So where are you from originally?
I grew up in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
Love Chicago. Got my bachelor's in theater education and playwriting at Central School of Speech and Drama in London.
Excuse us.
Part of University of London. That was a lot. That was a lot of fun. The English are a little hard to live with, but other than that, it was, I'm just kidding. College students are hard to live with.
Yeah, people are hard to live with. Really.
The only time I've ever had a problem is when I've had someone living with me. But
girl,
anyway.
yeah.
But it's life. I moved back to Chicago after school, and I worked in the theater industry for a while. I worked at Steppenwolf Theater Company in Chicago for a few years in development and audience experience. And then when theater sort of never came back from COVID, I transitioned to work at a boutique IP firm and kind of learned the trademark ropes there.
Sure.
And got the idea, and luckily the two partners at the firm were like, "Oh, we're in. Can we be co-founders?" And yes.
Yeah.
Please don't send me out into the wild by myself.
Right. Just write a check, and you can do whatever you want.
Absolutely, please. Yeah, they were like, "Oh yeah, you can leave and do this, but also we're coming with you." And I was like, "Oh thank God." So that's been really fantastic. And kind of moved here a couple years ago before I got the idea because I kind of wanted to figure out what the music industry needed, because I still felt like I wanted to be involved in an arts industry, even if it wasn't going to be theater.
So did you move to Nashville just on a whim?
Yeah. Yes. I was able to work remote, moved here, and like I said, wanted to be involved in an arts industry and wanted to move to a city with a super vibrant arts industry.
Right.
And I was like, okay, LA, New York, Miami,
all the fake people. But you could have also went to like Memphis or Austin or.
Oh, for sure.
But
my sister is in Columbia, South Carolina, and I did not want to live in Columbia, South Carolina, but wanted to be within driving distance of her. So this was kind of
nice.
This was the easy choice, and it was instantly confirmed.
Yeah.
When I moved here, I just met so many people and made so many friends incredibly quickly.
Yeah, we're supposed to be out there in 2 weeks before Christmas for a writers round that we're supposed to be co-headlining. So we're trying to put the dollars and cents together for that, and it's
well, that's very exciting.
Yeah. But yeah, so like trust me, I get it. If I could live in Nashville, I would.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. But children and other things don't make that a possibility.
That's a little bit more of a challenge.
That's all right. They'll all be 18 and out before we know it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, it's childhood. It's over before you know it.
Yeah. Our two youngest just turned 9 and 5, and I can't even believe it.
Those are such fun ages, though.
Yeah, when they're asleep.
Yeah.
No, they're awesome. I love my boys. I wouldn't trade them for the world.
Of course.
But yeah, so like I said, I can't thank you enough for being here and doing this. And I love what you're doing. I love your story. I love everything
Yeah.
about it. Um, and we haven't asked our guests this in a while for whatever reason, but and I fuck it. I want you to tell me anyway. I don't care if you're at work or not. Because we're the Boots and Whiskey podcast, do you have a boot or a whiskey of choice or both?
Oh man. Yes. This hold on. Can I go get it? Because I
Yeah, I don't give a
forget. I
shit. You
think
can do
it's
whatever you
called
want.
some, okay.
This is your show. You can
Okay.
fucking,
Hold on.
you can just
Hold
sit
on.
there and no, tell me. I'll tell you.
I have both actually. I like corral boots because maybe too much information, but I have sort of wide feet and they still fit me and they're still
Sweet.
pretty, gorgeous.
So,
And then Nashville Craft Distillery.
ooh, that looks good.
It is
Yeah,
incredible. It is incredible.
I gotta write that down.
Everything I've ever tried from them is incredible.
I gotta write it down.
Nashville Craft Distillery, free advertisement. Yes, and they also make really good. Like I had a citrus vodka there the other day that just changed my life as well.
Nice.
So they're not just whiskey; they are.
Nice. Yeah, we need we need some help to get to Nashville, so I'm gonna start reaching out to people.
Yes, yes,
You know,
you should. That's a great
gotta,
idea. But yeah, when you get here, come and see them in
I
South
will.
Nashville.
Are they in the city itself?
Yeah, they're South Nashville, kind of by the fairgrounds.
Okay.
Yeah, in Wedgwood,
Cool.
what's now called Wedgwood, Houston, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Lily, thank you so much for giving us all the fun stuff
Thank
and
you so much.
scaring the hell out of everybody not to be an asshole.
I'm not scary.
No, I didn't say you were scary. I just said you scared everybody not to be
Oh,
an
that's
asshole.
fine. I don't mind scaring people.
No, you're not scary at all. Like, nothing.
That's fine.
Nothing.
Yes, don't lie to us at Humanable. Other than
Right.
that,
Do not lie to them because they will fuck your life up.
Yeah.
That should be your slogan. We'll fuck your life up.
Only if you lie to us. Otherwise,
yeah.
we will unfuck your life.
That's true. That's true. I mean, oh man, Lily, you're incredible. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And like when things go, if new things come up, and you're like, hey, we're gonna launch this kind of thing coming up, like let us know. We'll do the damn thing again.
Oh, I would love that so much.
All right.
I would
Cool.
love that.
All right, well, we'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, everyone. Our conversation with Lily. Again, Lily, thank you so much for being here. I apologize for how tired I look and sound. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we went and saw Stephen Wilson Jr. last night at the Brighton Music Hall to a sold-out show here in Boston, and we made friends with the opener, Brie Kennedy. We saw Stephen after the show. I'm just wiped out. And then being dad and all that stuff, and working, I'm just tired. I'm tired. It's Monday. I'm recording this. It's Tuesday when you're listening. I'm just tired. But again, we have a whole review coming out for the Stephen Wilson show. It was the first one in a while I've actually felt inspired to actually write. So that's what we did, and it's either out already or coming out. I don't know, but it's coming. So check out that when it comes out again. Lili McGrady, thank you so much for being on the show. I don't know who's on next week. I really don't. No idea. Probably another audio because we need to get those out. And that's it, guys. So thank you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. The whole 9 yards. We have plenty of shows coming out. We don't stop. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. To all of our sponsors and our people that help us out. Off the Rails, DCU Center, 10th Mountain Whiskey, LH Coffee, everybody, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Till next week, guys, keep those boots on the ground, the whiskey in the glass, and we will see you next Tuesday. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Good night.